friendship that'll never ever end.
Run!
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Reaction Beanie 0789. In that neighborhood, my brothers and sisters. It is the start of a new week over here on our channel, Bean Team. And today, we are going back to AJ from the Y Files. Back to the Y Files, y'all. Hope y'all doing excelente out there today. And I'm glad that you came on back to the channel once again to help with the bean. And the title of the video is Synchronicities, the science behind your meaningful coincidences. Stripped. Now, I feel like we got a good one on our hands today, Bean Team, because for me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all out there feel this way too, sometimes it can be a very thin line between a coincidence and you feeling like something was supposed to happen. You feeling like, nah, man, this was meant to happen. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no coincidence. This didn't just randomly happen. You know what I'm saying, Bean Team? I feel like it's a fine, thin line between that. And I'm ready to get into the video. But before we get into it, y'all know what y'all got to do. Get whatever you may need. Get what you need, please. We are back to AJ from the Y Files. Y'all got what y'all need. Y'all ready to go? Then let's go.
This episode of the Y Files is brought to you by Upside.
In Bermuda, 1975, a man walks down the street. He's hit by a taxi and killed. Exactly 1 year later, his brother walks down the same street. He's hit by a taxi and killed. Now, not only did the brother die the same way, they were hit by the same taxi, driven by the same driver, carrying the same passenger. Twin boys, separated at birth, both named Jim, both became cops, both married women named Linda, both had sons named James Allen, both divorced and married women named Betty, and both had dogs named Toy. These aren't coincidences, they're synchronicities, reality responding to human consciousness. Because reality isn't random or chaotic, it's organized, it's aware, and it's always listening. And if you want to change reality, all you have to do is ask.
Get whatever you may need. AJ with his commercial, but boy, we starting off hot, y'all. And then when I was listening to those examples he was giving about the brother and the other brother who got hit by the exact same freaking taxi and all that, and then when we listened to the one about the two twins who got separated at birth and basically lived the same freaking life, even down to they named their damn dogs the same name, that's when I was like, man, yeah, now see it, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier, man. This is beyond more than a coincidence. Synchronicities, Bean Team. Synchronicities. We still at the commercial? Yep. Shout out to Upside. Shout out to our boy Helkafish. Shout out to Helkafish. Gotta give a shout out to Helkafish. And we're gonna take it back right here. Let's go.
In 1944, famous psychiatrist Carl Jung was talking with a patient. She kept having a dream about a golden scarab, a golden beetle, an Egyptian symbol of death, rebirth, and transformation. Jung listened patiently. He'd heard this dream before, many times. But then he heard something else. Tapping at the window. A beetle was hitting the glass over and over. Young opened the window, caught the beetle, and gently studied it for a second. It was golden green, a rose chafer, the closest thing to a scarab in Switzerland. He handed it to his patient and said, "Here's your scarab." At that moment, Jung realized that there's more to our reality than we see. He believed that mind and matter are intertwined, and reality is created by our collective consciousness. And Carl Jung wasn't some mystic. He was a scientist. He was a highly published, highly respected psychiatrist. But when that beetle tapped on his window, it changed him forever. He didn't think this was a random coincidence. It was a meaningful coincidence. He called it synchronicity. Events may seem coincidental, but they're connected by cause and consciousness. The universe, reality itself, responds to human thought. Have you ever had a friend pop into your mind, someone that you hadn't talked to in years, and then the phone rings and it's them? Or you think of a song and then you hear it somewhere? That's your mind tapping into the universal consciousness. One of Jung's closest intellectual partners was Wolfgang Pauli. He was a Nobel Prize-winning physicist and one of the founders of quantum mechanics. Quantum entanglement seemed to prove Jung's theory. When two particles are entangled, changing one changes the other, instantly, no matter how far apart they are. 1 foot apart, 1 million light years apart. Those particles communicate instantly, no speed limit. That breaks the rules of physics. But tests prove entanglement is real, which means there are rules of physics that we don't know about. Like entangled particles can influence each other, your thoughts can somehow influence your reality. The other day, Jen and I had
I ain't gonna lie, Bean Team. Hey, y'all kind of cooking with this theory. You know what I'm saying, man? Like, just the thought that collectively, everybody in the world, our minds, our consciousness is what's creating reality. That's some deep ish right there. You know what I'm saying? All us. Whoop up in here, Bean Team. Up in here is the reason everything around us exists. That's some craziness. I ain't gonna lie. Let's go.
With friends that we hadn't seen in 10 years. Hi, Dave. Hi, Maureen. Hi, Sailor. The next day, I'm cleaning out a folder of old files. The top file was a picture of Dave and Maureen and baby Sailor, taken about 10 years ago. I don't remember taking it. I don't even remember seeing it before. This is synchronicity, and I'm sure you have stories like this yourself. Arthur Koestler collected hundreds of these strange stories, and he found an odd pattern in history. Big discoveries often happen at the same time, in different places, by people who had no contact. Isaac Newton and Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz both invented calculus separately. Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace both developed the theory of evolution independently. Now, here's a crazy one. Alexander Graham Bell and Elisha Gray both submitted designs for the telephone to the U.S. Patent Office on the exact same day, February 14th, 1876, just hours apart. Jung said we're all connected. Each of us is one of billions of individual access points to our shared collective consciousness. And most people just stumble into these connections by accident. But some people have learned that our shared reality can be accessed, it could be influenced, it could even be controlled. And if you think controlling reality with your mind would be a nice skill to have, you're not alone. So does the CIA.
Whoa. Here we go again, man, with the freaking government, the CIA. They probably know a lot more as far as just this subject than they even telling us that they have told to the public. You know what I'm saying, man? They probably already know how to freaking control ish with their minds and probably been doing it all this time. I'm just saying, Bean Team, let me not jump off the deep end with the government conspiracy theories, but this one right here, I'm really enjoying, man, because it's just a thought. And I know, you know how AJ do. He gonna come back and debunk a lot of this. But it's just a thought, Bean Team. The thought that maybe maybe it's even subconsciously that we control a lot more of our reality than we realize. And I've been thought about this stuff anyway. That's why this video is so cool to me, because I've been thinking this type of ish for years now. Let's go.
The CIA had a problem. The Soviets were training psychic spies. It was the 1970s, and intelligence reports were coming in from everywhere. Soviet agents could supposedly see inside American military facilities using only their minds. At first, the reports weren't taken seriously, but then more reports arrived, and then more. Project Stargate launched in 1978 at the Stanford Research Institute. SRI was backed by the CIA. They wanted remote viewers who could spy on enemy installations without leaving their chairs. So SRI recruited people who claimed to have psychic abilities. Joe McMoneagle was one of their star viewers. He was a former Army intelligence officer who had a near-death experience. After he was brought back, he could describe places he'd never been. He'd close his eyes and sketch detailed drawings of buildings on the other side of the world. In 1979, McMoneagle was given coordinates and asked what he saw. He described a massive submarine, bigger than any sub ever built. Now, intelligence analysts laughed at his sketches of the sub because he drew two subs side by side surrounded by a giant hull. No submarine could be that big. No one had ever designed anything like this. 6 months later, satellite photos proved McMoneagle was right. The Typhoon-class submarine looked exactly like his drawings. But the military wanted more than remote viewing. They wanted to change reality itself. The Gateway process explores consciousness manipulation through technology. Robert Monroe had developed something called hemispheric synchronization, or hemisync. Different sound frequencies played in each ear could put the brain in altered states. Test subjects reported leaving their bodies, traveling through time, and accessing what they called other dimensions. Declassified documents describe Focus 15, a mental state where time supposedly doesn't exist. People claim they could see the past, present, and future simultaneously. Some reported they could influence events before they happened. That caught the attention of the American military and intelligence agencies. They even sent soldiers and agents to learn the Gateway process, and I have a whole episode on this linked below. At Princeton, the PEAR laboratory, PEAR, ran experiments for 28 years. They tested whether the human mind could affect random number generators. Ordinary people would sit in front of machines and try to influence the output with their thoughts. Now, the effects were small, but significant. People could affect machines in ways that shouldn't be possible. Still not convinced? Well, the Global Consciousness Project has random number generators around the world, constantly producing random data. But around 2 in the morning on September 11th, 2001, the machine's random numbers started to synchronize. The scientists couldn't explain it. A few hours later, 2 planes hit the World Trade Center. This is a published, peer-reviewed fact. Some argue that it was just a coincidence. But I could do a whole episode on the Global Consciousness Project and the events they predicted, and let me know if you want me to cover it. So, not only can we access reality, we can tap into the universal field, Focus 15, where past, present, and future don't exist. We can alter reality any place and at any time. The CIA and US military had spent decades and millions of dollars proving consciousness could alter reality. But they weren't the first to discover this. Ancient cultures had been using these techniques for thousands of years.
So if they've been using it, if ancient cultures been using it for thousands of years, then why the freak are we not using it now? You know what I'm saying? How did it become just a secret thing for the CIA along the lines? How that end up happening throughout the years or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Because as far as I know, nobody that's alive today know anything about freaking controlling controlling reality with your mind or nothing. And I will say this too, being team out. Everything, the hardest part of that for me to believe right now is the whole Focus 15 thing. And it's probably just because I can't even wrap my mind around this. They said, well, not they, AJ said that they said or whatever, they can exist in a place where time doesn't exist, where you can see the past, present, and future. Like, I can't even fathom what that means for real. You know what I'm saying? I know what it means. That you can go back a day, you could be in the present day, and you can be in tomorrow at the same time, seeing what's happening during that particular time or whatever. But it's just hard to imagine, being team, that right there. That freaking what is called Focus 15. I think that's my biggest, like, I don't know about that. Let's go. Like, I just feel like God is the only being can possibly, and not possibly, he does exist whether time is here or not. Long story short, short story long.
Humans have always known how to bend reality. We just called it different names. Every ancient culture had practices for connecting to the universal consciousness. Prayer, meditation, ritual. These weren't just religious ceremonies, they were technologies. Technologies for accessing the same consciousness field the CIA wanted. The Hermetic tradition goes back to ancient Egypt. As above, so below. As within, so without. They knew consciousness shapes reality. The mind creates matter. Change your inner world, the outer world follows. Buddhist monks have demonstrated this for centuries. They can control their body temperature through meditation. Scientists tested Tibetan monks in freezing conditions. The monks raised their skin temperature by 17 degrees. Just by thinking about it. They dried wet sheets on their bodies in sub-zero weather. Then there's Nikola Tesla. He didn't just invent electrical devices. He believed in the connection between thought and energy. Tesla would visualize his inventions in perfect detail before building them. He'd run the machines in his mind for weeks checking for problems. When he finally built them, they worked perfectly, every time, on the first try. Napoleon Hill interviewed 500 successful people in the early 1900s. Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, they all used the same technique. They held clear mental images of what they wanted. They felt the emotions of already having it. Then reality rearranged itself to match their vision.
Hey, you know what? This part right here is something that I have felt and do believe in. I don't know if this part of the synchronicity or the whatever, but I'm just saying, man, I honestly do feel like we as humans can speak things into existence. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do feel like it's like, and it's cliche how I'm saying it, and it may be deeper than that. It may not be like this, but it's when people say that you can speak things into the universe, and the universe is listening. You know what I'm saying, man? And I'm not gonna say it happens all the time, but if you keep on thinking and talking and manifesting something in your head, being team, a lot of times I ain't gonna say it will come exactly true, or it's gonna happen when you want it to happen, but it can happen. Long story short. Short story long. I'm just saying.
Bill called it Think and Grow Rich. But it wasn't about money. It was about consciousness creating reality. Then the New Thought movement spread across America. Authors like Neville Goddard taught that imagination creates reality, not metaphorically, literally. Your thoughts impress themselves on a responsive universe. The universe has no choice but to manifest them. Fast forward to 2006. The Secret goes mainstream, and millions learn about the law of attraction. Critics called it wishful thinking. But here's what's interesting. Every culture throughout history discovered the same principle independently. Aboriginal Australians, ancient Chinese, Native Americans, African tribes, they all found ways to communicate with reality itself. The techniques vary, but the core message doesn't. Reality is conscious. It listens. It responds. And the most dramatic proof comes from the synchronicities that happen without us even trying.
Facts, man. A lot of these synchronicity being team, we don't even try to do it. You know what I'm saying? It just happened. But when it happened, you be like, whoa, man, there's no way that it's just a coincidence.
In June 2001, Laura Buxton released a balloon at her grandparents' anniversary party. She was 10 years old, living in Staffordshire, England. She wrote her name and address on a tag, tied it to the balloon, and let it go. The balloon traveled 140 miles south. It landed in a hedge in Wiltshire, where another 10-year-old girl found it. And her name was also Laura Buxton. The second Laura wrote the first, and they arranged to meet. Both girls showed up wearing pink sweaters and jeans. Both brought their pet guinea pigs. Both guinea pigs were orange and white. And of course, the guinea pigs had the same name. And the coincidences kept piling up. Both Lauras were the same height. Both had brown hair and blue eyes. Both had 3-year-old black labs at home, and both also had gray rabbits. When they opened their bags, both had packed the same stuffed animal, identical. And the odds of all this happening are so crazy that it's mathematically impossible. But it happened. There's plenty of photos and video. The news covered the story. This is not an urban legend. Anthony Hopkins. He needed a book. The Girl from Petrovka. He was playing the lead in the film, and he searched every bookstore in London with no luck. It was out of print. Hopkins had finally given up when he was sitting on a bench waiting for a train. Someone left a book on the bench. He picked it up. It was The Girl from Petrovka. But this wasn't just any copy. This one had handwritten notes in the margins, personal observations, character analysis. Hopkins studied the book for his role. 2 years later, while shooting the film, Hopkins met the author, George Pfeiffer. While they talked about the book, Pfeiffer mentioned that he'd lent his personal copy to a friend. That friend lost it on the London Underground. All his notes, his analysis, gone. He was disappointed. Hopkins heard this and said, "Wait here," and he ran to fetch the book from his trailer. He showed Pfeiffer. It was the same book. Pfeiffer's handwriting, his notes, everything. Somehow, the universe sent that book to the actor playing the lead, and then the universe sent the book back to its owner. Now, here's a story of the law of attraction. Robert Todd Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's son, attracted death. Presidential death. April 14th, 1865, Robert was at the White House when his father left for Ford's Theater. We know how that ended. 16 years later, July 2nd, 1881, Robert was Secretary of War. Walking into the Baltimore and Potomac train station, President Garfield was shot, right there in front of Robert. He saw it happen. September 6th, 1901. Now Robert was president of Pullman Company. He arrived at the Pan American Exposition. Minutes later, President McKinley was shot. Again, Robert was there. 3 presidents, 3 assassinations, 1 man present at all of them. But here's the synchronicity that haunted Robert. Years before his father died, Robert fell onto train tracks in Jersey City. The train was coming. He was about to be crushed. A stranger grabbed his collar and yanked him to safety. That stranger was one of the most famous actors in the country, Edwin Booth, the brother of John Wilkes Booth. 2 brothers, both famous actors, both connected to Abraham Lincoln. One brother would save the president's son, the other would assassinate him. These patterns.
Okay, yeah, this is just too much, man. I don't even know if synchronicity is the word for all this. Are you freaking kidding me? So that's crazy, man. The fact that his brother, John Wilkes Booth brother, the one who saved the other dude. I can't even think of who the dude is right now. My mind going in all type of circles being team. Abraham Lincoln's son saved him, and his brother killed his father. It's like it's just this crazy circle that all just goes together. I don't know, man. It's more than just a coincidence with some of this stuff being team, and I guess and it is also I feel like. It goes back to, I have said this before and I'll say it again. God it's not meant for us to understand everything of how the universe and reality and how it all works, consciousness, our souls. You know what I'm saying? Like God he didn't design this for us to understand everything. He's the only one who is the all-knowing. Long story short, short story long.
Patterns are a little too perfect. This isn't random. This is reality organizing itself. To be able to influence reality would be the ultimate power. That's why people have been studying this technique for thousands of years. But here's the secret they don't want you to know. Anyone can learn to change their reality at will. Even you. Dr. Joe Dispenza had a patient who couldn't walk. He was paralyzed from the waist down. Doctors said it was permanent. But then the patient started meditating. And not just regular meditation, quantum field meditation. He visualized his nerve endings connecting and rebuilding. He focused on feeling his legs working perfectly. 6 months later, he walked into Dispenza's office. No wheelchair, no crutches. He walked. The doctors couldn't explain it, but Dispenza could. The patient had tapped into the quantum field where all possibilities exist. And this isn't wishful thinking. This is the practical application of quantum physics. When you observe something at the quantum level, you change it. That's the observer effect. A particle exists in all states at once until you observe it. Then it exists in only one state. Your consciousness can tap into the quantum field. At this moment, infinite realities are laid out before you. Every nanosecond, infinite decisions are being made that cause the infinite possibilities to collapse into this one reality. But you can learn to influence the outcome of all those decisions. You can alter your small corner of reality. Setting clear intentions is the first step. You can't be vague, like wishing for more money. You have to be specific, detailed. You have to say, I receive a $10,000 bonus on March 15th. The universe needs precise instructions. But thinking isn't enough. You need emotion, gratitude specifically. Feel grateful for what you're manifesting as if it already happened. Concentrate on that feeling of believing it already happened. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a real experience and a vivid imagination. That's why athletes visualize perfect performance. Their muscles respond as if they actually practiced. Donald Hoffman spent 30 years studying consciousness. He believes what we perceive as reality is nothing more than a user interface, like computer icons on a desktop. Behind every icon, behind every pixel, is complex code. What we see isn't really here. Space, time, objects, they're all icons, all pixels. Consciousness is the only thing that's real. Now, if Hoffman is right, and reality is just an interface, you can hack it. And people do it every day without realizing it. Think about someone and they call. Need a parking spot? One opens up. Worry about something and it happens. That last one's important. Reality doesn't judge good or bad, it just responds. So be careful what you focus on. You'll know when you're connecting with the universal field. You'll see signs. Some people always notice clocks when they read 11:11. Other people have number patterns they see everywhere, in dates, addresses, VIN numbers of cars. Look around. License plates contain messages. So do song lyrics. Reality is constantly communicating with you. You just have to learn the language. Some people see results immediately. Others take months. The difference is doubt. Every doubt is a new instruction to the universe to not honor your original request. If you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. We all know the stories about the highly successful CEO who visualizes his entire day each morning. Every meeting, every decision, every outcome. He's not psychic, he's programming reality. You've heard of vision boards? If you don't have one, create one right now. Put a cork board somewhere where you can see it every day. And on that board, pin pictures of everything you want. A dream house, a car, a boat, a travel destination. Even handwritten notes to yourself about landing the perfect job or finding your soulmate. Study that board every day. You'll be surprised at what happens. You might not buy that yacht tomorrow, but by setting clear intentions, those trillions of micro decisions will guide you to your goal. Now these are—
And I know y'all might think AJ talking a lot of ish right now. He just full of it. But man, I think he spins facts right now though, man. Because like I said earlier, y'all, I am one of those ones that believe that you can talk stuff into the universe. You can make your mind can make reality out here. Seriously, Bean Team. And also a crucial thing that he said was like, be careful when you're thinking about all the bad ish, because sometimes you'll speak some bad ish up on you. You know what I'm saying? When you're all down and out and negative and stuff. Yeah, don't be negative in life. Be positive, Bean Team, as much as you freaking can.
aren't miracles. This is technology, ancient technology that we forgot how to use. But a part of you remembers how to communicate with reality, because reality is us, all of us. We're all connected. Our shared consciousness is always listening. It wants your dreams to come true. All you have to do is ask.
And I was just sitting back thinking right then too, y'all, real quick. Long story short, short story long. I just had a moment of, I don't know if you want to call it synchronicity, coincidences, whatever. It worked before I got off, y'all, because it was what time was it? It was 1:04, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave at 1:34. You know what I'm saying? I said I'm gonna leave at 1:34 because I got there 4 minutes late, so I wanted to make up for those 4 minutes. That's why I was 1:34. I'm leaving at 1:34. I looked at my watch. It was 1:04, and that was already a little strange to me. Do y'all know the next time I literally looked at my watch, it was 1:34 on the head? I haven't looked at a clock, didn't know what time it was at all. But the next time I thought to look at my watch, it was 1:34. But then it goes even further than that. So I didn't leave exactly at that time because I had other things I had to do. You know what I'm saying, man? So I did those other things, and I said, man, I know I'm way past 1:34 now. I'm just thinking in my head. I'm like, man, I know I'm way past 1:34 now. So I was like, I bet it's 2 o'clock. I look at my watch. It's literally 2 o'clock on the dot, big team. Now, maybe I'm tripping. Maybe that's just coincidences. Maybe that's just my mind subconsciously keeping track of time. But even if that's the case, and I do believe we can kind of do that, but to do it to the T, like I literally knew it was going to be 2 o'clock on the head when I looked at my watch. I don't know, y'all. Some of this stuff, it's a thin line, and sometimes some of this stuff just can't be all coincidences.
Synchronicities are real. We've got the photos of the 2 Laura Buxtons. Young's Beetle tapped on that window. Anthony Hopkins found that exact book. These things happened. So is the universe really responding to our thoughts? Well, here's where it gets tricky. Critics point out that our brains evolved to see patterns in randomness. This is called pareidolia. Rustling in the bushes could be wind, or it could be a predator. The ones who assumed predator lived longer. So we're wired to see connections even when they're not there. Now, the skeptics have a point. Millions of twins get separated at birth. Some are bound to have weird similarities. We only hear about the impossible ones. This is called survivorship bias, cherry-picking facts to support a hypothesis while ignoring everything else. Take the Laura Buxton balloon. Release enough balloons over enough years, the odds are you'll eventually create an impossible story. The odds are extremely low, I'll admit, but they're not zero. Critics also say the CEO who visualizes his perfect day, that's not tapping into some universal field, that's just preparation and confidence. But the skeptics can't explain everything. The Global Consciousness Project is real. Random number generators do show patterns during major world events. September 11th, tsunamis, elections. Princeton's Pear Lab ran for 28 years, millions of trials. Now, the effects were tiny, but they were real. Consciousness affected those machines. The observer effect is proven physics. When you observe a quantum system, you change it. Some physicists think consciousness might be fundamental to reality. Others think consciousness is reality. No, you can't manifest a yacht. But mind and matter are more connected than we thought. So you can put yourself on a path where you're making decisions that lead to that yacht. But you have to keep visualizing, just like Tesla visualized his inventions. It's all about seeing it and thinking about it and focusing on the problem and the solution. Have you ever gone to sleep with a problem in your mind and woke up with the answer? I have. In the early 19th century, scientists were baffled by benzene, a compound made of carbon and hydrogen that's extremely strong and stable. Chemists tried to replicate it, but they didn't know how to arrange the molecules. Friedrich Kekulé discovered the structure of benzene in his sleep. He had a dream of a snake eating its tail, a ring. That was the breakthrough. Benzene is so strong and so stable because it's built like a hexagonal ring. This discovery was a huge leap forward in chemistry. It changed and created entire industries. Dmitri Mendeleev saw the periodic table in a dream. Now, these aren't manifestations, but they're not random either. That's why every ancient culture has similar techniques. Prayer, meditation, it's all about visualizing the outcome. Now, the military spent millions on remote viewing, and it worked. Sometimes. But it worked enough that it was better than chance, better than nothing. So, where does that leave us? Synchronicities happen more than statistics predict. Consciousness can influence physical systems in small ways. Princeton proved it. I tend to believe Carl Jung, that we're all part of a vast neural network. Each of us is one of billions of nodes of the same consciousness. Now, most of the time we're out of sync. Events are chaotic. The signals are random. But sometimes the signals align. Someone thinks of you, you think of them, the phone rings. Now, I don't know if consciousness creates reality or reality creates consciousness, but I know it's listening. Now, I'm not here to convince you of that. I'm not asking you to believe in universal collective consciousness. I'm just asking you to be open to it. How? It's simple. Be positive, be kind, be confident, and be grateful. If you make these small adjustments and I'm wrong, your life will still be happier. But if I'm right, and these adjustments allow you to bend reality to your will and control your own destiny, you'll end up asking yourself one simple question. What took me so long?
Great video by AJ, y'all. I really freaking enjoyed that one, man. And that's one that'll leave you with a lot of questions on your hand. And for the most part, I feel like none of that stuff I could truly like be 100% against. That is not a possibility. You know what I'm saying? Now, like I said too, when he said it at the end, like you can't literally manifest a freaking yacht or freaking money in your hand, but it's just you talking about it every day and thinking about it. It helps you build a plan and helps you strive towards and try to achieve that goal of having that money or that yacht one day and doing the proper things day in and day out to get there. And then it freaking happens, being team. Like it's truths and it's truths and falsehoods to this whole consciousness and reality, or reality creates consciousness. I like his theory, and it's not his theory. I can't remember who had it, but the nodes theory, that we all just billions of nodes, or reality periods is just billions of nodes, and sometimes those nodes align together, and that's when we get those coincidences and synchronicities. I also understand with the whole balloon thing, how at the end of the day you can bring that back to numbers. I'm talking about the girl who flew a balloon and it landed in a girl yard or whatever, who was her same name and all same this. I also understand, like with a numbers game, you just think about how many freaking balloons have been flown in the air, being team. I'm talking about just from the beginning of time, probably what billions, maybe trillions of times that have happened since we know it or whatever. And if you really think about it, at some point in time, that, and you want to call it random, but at some point in time, it's gonna happen like that. You know what I'm saying? If you just play the numbers game, at some point in time, that was gonna be the winner. That balloon was gonna go to a girl house that was just like the girl who flown the balloon. Long story short, short story long. I'm gonna go let y'all go, being team. I promise y'all I can keep going on and on, man, but I gotta end this video now because I got other things to do. And I will see y'all, what's tomorrow for another That Chapter Wednesday. But until then, my friends, just please, before you leave, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and do all that if you ain't did that yet. And remember this: love, peace, and happiness. Stay safe. Don't stop. Keep going. Yeah.
If you're feeling lonely today, come along and throw your cares away. We're really glad that you're our friend, and this
Run!